Hey everyone, it's Alexander, the real Mr. Robinson. Welcome to the channel and welcome to another live stream. We're doing another live watch along of the Godzilla series because of quarantine due to a pandemic. And today we are doing the fifth film in the series and the one that was supposed to be the final movie of the franchise, the one and done finale to end all finales, Destroy All Monsters. Now, first of all, I mean, we're just gonna get into this right now, but the reason I didn't do this yesterday is because this might be a pathetic kind of reason, but I was just not in the mindset to do another watch along. Like, things were just too, like, my mind was just off into what was going on in the world, and I wasn't in the mindset, and I didn't even feel like I was in the complete mindset to do the Son of Godzilla review, but nevertheless, I did it. We are doing it with Destroy All Monsters. I feel a little better, so I want to welcome everyone who's in the chat right now. Doesn't seem like there's many people here at the moment. Just gonna go ahead and refresh this, see if that helps anything. Okay, it seems like we only have 3 people here. Justin Toner, Razorbike, and Gzilla 100. Do you think we'll be getting a trailer for Godzilla vs. Kong soon? I think maybe next month, because there's going to be Comic-Con at home, and I think Legendary Pictures has hinted that they'll be dropping a trailer then. So, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Razorbike says, can't believe this is the last Godzilla movie. Oh, if... You know what? I would say if only, but, no. Luckily, we had more to do. Spider is Prime, welcome. Glad to see everyone who is in the stream is here, just all the regulars. And for those of you who happen to be watching, who are lurking in the background, please do not be shy at all. Come on out, say hi, interact with everyone in the chat, and yeah, we're gonna have, even if you aren't watching the movie, you could still interact with everyone here, and just ask me some questions, and it's gonna be a fun time. So without further ado, just want to make sure everything is running smooth and soundly. Think everything might be good to go. So without further ado, let's just hop into the movie right now. This is Destroy All Monsters. I'm going to be pushing the play button. Once again, like, if you own the movie, that's perfect. If you do not, but you have an HBO Max account, it is on there, so you can just start watching it there. And I'm mainly saying this for people who are watching this in post. If you're watching this in post, just get yourself set up with the HBO Max account with Destroy All Monsters. And if you are all set up, whether you're watching this in post or live, I am going to push the play button now. I get some water first. Yeah, so this week has just been kind of messy. I mean, you can't really, I really had no control over this because, I mean, the world is just in a terrible place. But next week, we will be back to the regular Tuesday and Thursday schedule when it comes to doing these live watch-alongs. There's that glittering gold title, which in Japanese that translates to Charge of the Monsters. Doesn't really have the same ring as Destroy All Monsters. You know, it doesn't really say that it's in the year 1999. Or in the dub it does, but here it just says near the end of the 20th century, which I guess that is 1999 anyway. Right Guy 2015, welcome to the chat. Glad you could join us. Hopefully you all have your movies set up, and hopefully we'll have a good time. Huh? God, this theme, like this is, I mean, if this had ended the entire franchise, this is at least Akira Kubo gave us one of his best themes out there. This Destroy All Monsters theme is just so good. I feel like the American title for this should have been called All Monsters Attack. I mean, there's already a movie called All Monsters Attack, and Destroy All Monsters just sounds better. It was fun watching Blade Runner last year in November 2019, the year and month the movie was set. And yeah, it's hard to imagine that the setting of Blade Runner is now in the past. So once again, Sadamasa Arikawa was the director of special effects, and Eiji Tsuburaya was supervisor. We'll get into Final Wars when we get into it. I don't even know how I'll feel about the movie when I rewatch it. This is such a cool, like, opening scene where it's just... I mean, it's not all the monsters featured in this movie, but it's a monster roll call of Godzilla, Rodan, and Anguirus, who hasn't been seen since the 50s. I'm bracing myself for All Monsters Attack next week. No, you should be bracing yourself for when we get to the anime trilogy. Because if you want to kick the Godzilla series in the balls, the anime trilogy is the one to do it. You know, when I first saw this movie, I was like, Mothra, get out of there. Gorosaurus is going to eat you. Yeah, I don't think Angie is a good nickname for Anguirus. Yeah, whatever. So is that just like a scent that Godzilla hates? Because, I mean, if that's steam or smoke, then nothing would really keep him from leaving or just walking past it. I like how those magnetic shields look like the little Wi-Fi icons. Like, look at those and tell me that they aren't Wi-Fi icons. Rodan just straight up ate dolphins. I don't see how the natives would be okay with Mothra being locked away with Godzilla and company. Well, maybe by 1999, the natives of Infant Island went extinct. That's the best explanation I could come up with. There's Minya, or Minilla. Which, that... If this is 1999, then we need to probably assume that the Godzilla in this movie is Minya grown up. I mean, the radio just said off-planet call. Oh, it's probably a bad connection. It's probably a bad connection. No need to panic. See, it's all fine. Except for that fog that turns people inside out. And uh-oh, it's seeping in, and you just open it up. Stupid cheap weather strippings. Okay, like, I know the gas was coming from all over the place, but to open the door for a substance that you don't even know about, that is pure idiocy right there. Yeah, that suit is so much better than the one from Son of Godzilla. Godzilla didn't even fully fall to the ground, and they just put a sound effect right there. Maybe Godzilla has a long lifespan, like in the Monsterverse. Huh? So does that mean Minya is just the same infant for 30 years? It's kind of weird. No, they wouldn't be dumb enough to put the monsters on a volcanic island. Not unlike John Hammond and everyone at Jurassic Park and Jurassic World to put a dinosaur theme park on a volcanic island. Here's that infamous scene where Gorosaurus comes out of the ground and destroys the Arc de Triomphe. But it's supposed to be Baragon. I mean, Gorosaurus pretty much, his roar is just a high-pitched version of Baragon's roar, so they're not too different. But for Gorosaurus to dig through the earth with those tiny little hands, and then for the newscaster to blame it all on Baragon, it's like, where was Baragon at that point? The only time Godzilla has ever shown up in New York. The only time. There's something urgent about, like, Godzilla destroying the UN. Oh, and also, it was daytime in Japan, Moscow, in Tokyo, Moscow, Paris, and New York City. I like how that moment was pretty much like Michael Bay logic, where it has to be daytime everywhere in the world. Like that's kind of amusing. This would not be the last time Godzilla would attack New York. Yeah, it would be. Yeah, Godzilla never showed up in New York City again. Meanwhile, on the moon. Who would you say is the most powerful version of Godzilla besides Godzilla Earth and Shin Godzilla? The one from Final Wars, because the one from Final Wars is comedically untouchable. No, yeah, Razorbyte said this would not be the last time Godzilla would attack New York City, and then he meant to correct and say this would be the last time he attacked New York City. And Gzilla 100 says, unless you count Zilla, which no self-respecting Godzilla fan would ever consider Zilla and Godzilla the same monster. Well, it's spotted. Wow, it just hauled ass right there. That just hop up on the moon base to be told head back to Earth, and then boom, just going back to Earth. Huh? It's funny how fast they make it back to Earth. I mean, I know it's a futuristic rocket and all, but reminds me of Futurama. Hey, can I do the countdown? What? Oh, sure, yeah. 10, 9. Okay, we're here at the moon. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, blast off. Wonder if they're going to have Godzilla and Kong throw down on Skull Island, a major city, or maybe both. I hope both. I mean, they indicate that Godzilla and a lot of the other monsters are headed towards Skull Island, and I think Skull Island is pretty much in the MonsterVerse their equivalent of Monster Island, and it wouldn't be all that exciting of a movie if all of Godzilla vs. Kong was on Skull Island. Though it would be the very first time Godzilla ever stepped foot on Skull Island. And you're making them attack civilization because it makes no sense for Mothra to like attack unless the twin fairies are in danger. Like, there's something about Mothra being mind controlled and rampaging that's very off-putting. I'll accept Mothra attacking like that unless it's mind control because the twins asked. The twins would never incite violence. Huh? Yeah, the Keelak are just not. I don't think they're that interesting of an alien race. Whoa, whoa, careful, careful where you touch, man. Careful. Uh, Never mind. Yeah, it's like, like the Keelak don't even try to hide the fact that they're evil. They don't try to hide the fact that they're evil, and like the Exalians were just more interesting in terms of their costumes and in manipulating Earth to thinking that they're allies. And her and that Keelak leader just kind of falling back is a bit silly. I mean, I know we'll get to this movie eventually, but which alien race is more boring? According to in the chat, I want you guys to answer this question: who is more boring, the Keelak aliens or the cockroaches from the Space Hunter Nebula M? Because honestly, like I think the Keelaks are boring, but I think they're slightly better than the cockroach aliens. So funny that they have those futuristic guns that would be lasers, and yet they fire bullets. That's a headshot and an over the top death. Well, this is an awkward car ride. All right, that's a cool frame. That's a cool framing of the shot, where two actors are right in center of the circles of that part of the hotel room. like, this part shouldn't be funny, but it is. It's such an obvious dummy. Like, it's an obvious dummy, and the way he just goes, ah, like it's like I forget what I was gonna say. Apparently not so secret. I said mate, goddammit. Sure, why not? At a boat waiting. Ooh. Ooh, ooh. No, I cannot handle that. Well, it wasn't in his ear, so of course it's not a hearing aid. Mind control. Oh, nice, Justin Toner. The official like Universal release Blu-ray of King Kong Escapes. Is that what you got? Again, there's that crazy innkeeper or mayor from Yojimbo. Just a random cow mooing in the background. Okay, I don't know how you confuse Rodan with a rocket ship. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. If they're on the bus there, then where was the rocket going? And a coconut? Just they picked a random tree and a random coconut. Why in the MonsterVerse is Kong not called King Kong? I mean, I don't. I think it's rare that King Kong is in the American movies. It's rare that he's ever called King Kong. Um, I'm pretty sure in most of the movies, he's just known as Kong already. Like King is just a title. Like, I know in the Japanese films, like, he's called King Kong in full, but I don't think it's that big a deal that he's not called King Kong, because no other movies have ever done it. Well, we got to this sequence quick. How far are we into this? It's already been... Wow. All right, that was a fast 35 minutes. That's a pretty elaborate model of Tokyo, like complete with remote control cars and a subway, 2 subways. That definitely don't look all that convincing. Of course, Tokyo had to be victim to more than one monster. I like how Godzilla just steps over the other side of that crane. Of course, Manda, who we haven't seen since Atragon, has no horns or mandibles. But whatever, that's fine. This is obviously not the same Manda that was in Atragon. You could barely see the strings on Manda. Not sure why the atomic breath was just doing an arch, but whatever. You know, there was a deleted scene where Godzilla and Manda had a brief fight uh, in this sequence here, and it was cut for, I think it was cut for a couple reasons. One, it didn't make a whole lot of sense for two monsters that were under the control of the key lock to fight each other. And plus, it just didn't seem that interesting to have Nakajima just kind of toss around a puppet of Manda. But for that first part, there's actually a way to make that scene work. Um, like Godzilla's mind control was disrupted for a bit, and he's tried to stop Manda from destroying Tokyo. That's how you could make that sequence work. Yeah, during this sequence, not not too fond of the moments where the Japanese self-defense force destroys some of their own buildings. Kind of defeats the purpose of a self-defense force already. Oh, it just had to get worse. I am a little bummed that it's only the Mothra larva. Like, they didn't use. The Mothra in this movie isn't an adult, so that's. I don't know. I would have liked it if it was an adult Mothra instead. Okay, so how do we determine who did which damage was done by which what part of the city was destroyed by the monsters, and what other part of the city? That was a weird zoom up. What part of the city was destroyed accidentally by the self defense force? Of course, are we sure it's Baragon, or are they just? Is it actually Gorosaurus again? Who let her? Wait, did she just find her way in, or did they capture her? Sure, just give away their location, their evil plans. Dude, like, dude, like, jeez, just rip them right off her ears. It would have been hilarious if it would be hilarious if that actually didn't work. Oh, there. I thought there were maser tanks in the way background. Yeah, exactly. Like they just ordered all of the monsters from Monster Island to destroy major cities: London, Moscow, Beijing, Paris, New York, Tokyo. I don't think like peace is an option. Like it's about as stupid as it's about as stupid as in King of the Monsters, where Vera Farmiga is planned to like restore humanity is just to release all the Titans, but that's even worse because she's a human herself. So I mean, we'll get to King of the Monsters when we get to it because that plot is just her storyline is stupid. Thank God that atomic breath didn't do anything. Mysterians is good. Mysterians is definitely worth checking out. Because it was the first Toho science fiction movie in widescreen. Well, King of the Monsters is better than the entire anime trilogy. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Oh, that's unfortunate. And there's Anguirus. Anguirus is just rocking that tank back and forth. Well, at least they know where the base is. Either they know where the base is, or that was just a trap. Tried watching the first Godzilla anime on Netflix. Did not like it. Heard fans were not happy with the other two. Oh, trust me, it gets worse after the first one. It absolutely gets worse after that. It's a shame Rodan isn't flapping his wings, because that doesn't look too convincing. I'm surprised this movie is moving as fast as it is. See, I mean, I've said this in my review, and we'll touch upon that more when we get to the anime trilogy, but the first movie, it's like, this isn't good, but it's a cool setup at the very least. It's just they need to expand more with the sequels. Then when you get to the sequels, you're like, wow, you guys had no idea what you were doing at all. Like people complain about the Star Wars sequel trilogy not having a plan, which they didn't. But the Godzilla anime trilogy was really like, you didn't like you did not like really take this idea that far, like as far as it could have gone. Why why is Rodan's theme playing during Godzilla's rampage? You know, they probably didn't have to duck behind a log since Godzilla is huge. Or even then, like, if they duck behind a log and Godzilla's walking towards them, he could have seen them. Yeah, that's not a clue at all. What, the sequence where those three giant noodles come out of a wormhole? That's, yeah, yeah, so good. I'm sorry, I really hate Planet Eater. Like, Pla- Planet Eater is hands down the worst Godzilla movie ever made. It's a trap. Hmm. So wait, is that supposed to be an elevator or a screen? I'm very confused right now. No, we don't count. We don't count Roland Emmerich's Godzilla as a Godzilla movie, even though I am going to be doing a watch along for that movie later on. Come on, Citizen Kane's a great movie. Don't put it down. This is one of those situations where it's like, just give it some time. Just wait for a few years to go by, then rewatch it, and it'll get better. Trust me. Oh, hi, Mr. Narrator. It's a good thing that the Monster Island facilities are back under control. A button that says "Press to summon King Ghidorah in use only in emergency." That's a funny thing to think about. Don't you already have a crew on the moon that could do it? Even though Citizen Kane was boring in opinion, rather watch than Fantastic Four any day. Well, part of the language, but no shit, because Citizen Kane is great, and Fantastic Four is one of the very worst movies of the last decade. As Razorback says, one of the worst superhero movies ever made. And yeah, I will not abide by this Citizen Kane bashing. It's not one of my personal favorite movies, but it's still a great movie regardless. I never realized how silly those spacesuits look like. Like, the spacesuits in Invasion of the Astro Monster seemed pretty practical, all things considered, but the suits here just that they look silly. I understand they're supposed to be futuristic suits, but yeah, still pretty silly. Like everything Destroy All Monsters does, Invasion of the Astro Monster did a lot better. Oh, good lord, what have we gotten ourselves into? So, did the Keelaks just have that all set up just in case a rocket ship came into that little space? Like, that's a true Indiana Jones temple style trap. And I honestly forget how this sequence plays out. Um, not in terms of like, because they don't blow up the rocket. Do they just stop setting it on fire? Like this one aspect of the movie that I really keep forgetting. Oh, mini maser cannon. So the Keelaks are just watching them do this. Okay, whatever they destroyed just stopped. What? The Keelaks die in a very confusing way. funny that a moon base still has just a regular old telephone that heads back to Earth. Okay. The movie just lost its color. That's a funny moment with the, like, we're gonna die, who wants coffee? Huh. Oh, oh, that's right. The Keelaks are basically space slugs. Huh? That's weird. Psst, ah! It's covered by the cheapest looking plastic on Earth, or the moon. You know, the moon base could at least have the courtesy to tell them, we haven't heard back yet, rather than just not say anything. Yeah, that is some cheap plastic as a little bubble shield around the controller. Isn't there a way they could just fire the maser cannon at the control device? I mean, if it took out a whole shield and blew a pretty big hole in the moon, then pretty sure like a tiny little burst from that maser cannon would do the trick. Sorry, guys, just a little tired. Y'all are hopeless. Absolutely freaking hopeless. No, Godzilla 100. I do not want anything in Godzilla vs. Kong to even remotely remind me of Batman vs. Superman. No, absolutely not. Because that do you bleed moment is so stupid. This is a weird sequence right here. Because they have the maser going, and then you have this music playing in the background. It's pretty high intense music. And then all of a sudden, it just stops abruptly. Because the cable caught on fire, and then put it back out. And then they just restart again. This Spiderus Prime says, "Cue the Dogora music." Is this from Dogora? Because I still haven't seen that movie. Yeah, that's wobbly as hell. I cannot get over the fact that the little bubble shield is just plastic. Like, it doesn't even look remotely like glass. It just topples over slightly. Oh, yes, Fan Four Stick is not, Fan Four Stick is not a movie that's so bad it's good. It's like, it's truly a baffling movie. Like, in terms of how bad it went. And that whole Keelak moon base, just boom. Living metal. Huh. Run the stock footage of Godzilla emerging to Tokyo. Don't give us a heart attack with that. Could there be a more could there be a way to test your new system without without panicking all of Tokyo again? Let's not compare Godzilla and Kong to Superman and Batman. They're all completely different. There are no similarities at all. I really don't want to talk about Batman versus Superman again. Which, by the way, if you guys haven't seen my ranking of the DC Extended Universe films, it went up yesterday, so you could go check that out. And now this is the sequence that's the reason you even watch this movie. And a reminder that, oh yeah, Manila was in this movie. Razor. Yeah. People say. Well, I want to get back to the movie, but people say that the Ultimate Cut is better. Honestly, I think it's worse because the Ultimate Cut basically elaborates some more plot details, but it's all plot details for parts of the movie that didn't need to be in the movie to begin with. Of course, Manda, Baragon, and Mothra. No, Manda, Baragon, and Varen appear in Mount Fuji and do absolutely nothing. Yeah, the three of them are off in the distance as, I think, a map painting. And, yeah, those three monsters are completely useless during this big final battle. Of course, it wouldn't be the supposed last Godzilla movie unless you had... There he is. King Ghidorah. So, does King Ghidorah, like... How do different aliens, how do, like, so many different alien species get their hands on controlling King Ghidorah? Like, is there just a sign out in space that says Ghidorah for rent? And, yeah, the Kilaaks are pretty dumb, because if Ghidorah was defeated by 3 monsters, what chance does he have against, let's see, Godzilla, Anguirus, Varen, Mothra, Gorosaurus. Wait, Godzilla, Anguirus, Rodan, no, trying to keep track. I mean, Ghidorah's right now holding his own, but Godzilla, Anguirus, Rodan, Mothra, Kumonga. I'm losing track. Godzilla, Anguirus, Rodan, Mothra, Kumonga, and Gorosaurus. 6 monsters. What hope did the Kilaak have of pitting Ghidorah against 6 monsters? Since the other 4 monsters don't do anything, and Manila doesn't even do anything himself, except just wave his hands back and forth. Will I review Batman, the movie from 1966? I'd rather watch the series for the first time than watch and review that movie instantly. So, one day, but I can't say soon. That shot of Anguirus just hanging on Ghidorah's neck is very amusing. Yeah, Anguirus takes a whole lot of abuse throughout this franchise. Not just this movie, but this franchise. And he keeps going. I am slightly bummed that, like, Anguirus shows up as a skeleton in King of the Monsters. Like, I understand Mothra, Rodan, and Ghidorah are more profitable and more recognizable monsters, but it would have been nice to see, like, Anguirus pop up. It's a shame that they made more movies in the Showa era, because if, like, in chronological order, like, if in the order of the movies were, if this had truly been, like, the last Showa era Godzilla movie, in the sense that it was made and came out after Terror of Mechagodzilla, then Ghidorah probably could have had more of a shot with Mechagodzilla, Megalon, and Gigan on his side. But no, Ghidorah is now about to get the single worst beatdown. And even then, this beatdown is nothing compared to his death in King of the Monsters. Like, Ghidorah gets beat down here hard, but he doesn't, like, evaporate it like he does in King of the Monsters. Yeah, like that, King Ghidorah's dead. And with absolutely no help from Baragon, Manda, or Varen. And Rodan just kind of cowardly flew away for a bit. Yeah, get out of the way, Godzilla. Okay, that burning, I know what it ends up being, but that made its way quick to Tokyo. Okay, for that thing to that burning monster to make its way from Mount Fuji to Tokyo and to Monster Island in such a quick amount of time. Wow. Oh, that's a Technicolor strobe effect. In the words of Luke Skywalker, your overconfidence is your weakness. You know, you could just go kick it. There you go. Yeah, the Kilax just really did not think this whole invasion through. Such a coincidence that Ghidorah died right on top of their base. Dude, yeah, he... Never mind. I forgot what I was going to say. So the monsters just stand there now and do nothing? Wait, still being jammed? Well, it's right behind you guys. Oh, they had a backwards missile. This this theme is so good. Something about the ship just... Okay, that's ridiculous. There are some inherently silly things about that little maneuver and chase. Mm. You know, they really didn't think the Keylak thing through with just a random UFO flying around. I like how that missile just uh, destroyed the Keylak UFO's shields. Didn't actually destroy it. And more random explosions coming out of the Earth because this movie didn't have enough of them. The next day. Yeah, just another recap of seeing those monsters again. In the exact same spot we first saw them. There's Nakajima in Baragon's costume. The first, I think this is the first. I think this is the only Godzilla movie where Nakajima played two monsters in one movie, even if his performance as Baragon is that moment there. As for Varen, they didn't even bother to make a suit. It's just a prop. There's Manila. Yeah, I mean, it's not really the best finale you could have asked for. And honestly, in my opinion, I don't think you could really do a Destroy All Monsters type movie successfully. I mean, not that this is any bad at all, but like with a movie with a whole bunch of monsters in one, you're gonna have expectations, and chances are your expectations are not going to match what the movie is. So yeah, that's Destroy All Monsters. It is weird that that was intended to be the last movie, and then because it was such a big hit, Toho and Tomoyuki Tanaka were like, let's go ahead and make 6 more of these. And that would be the part where the series would go downhill for a period of time. So yeah, next week we'll be back to our regular schedule with Tuesdays and Thursdays being the watch-alongs, and we are going to... I cannot speak English correctly. We are going to be doing the 10th Godzilla movie, All Monsters Attack, also known as Godzilla's Revenge. And yeah, I mean, it's the movie that everyone considers to be the worst of the series, but I have some things to say in its defense, but we'll get to that next week. In the meantime, once again, thank you guys for tuning in, watching, and again, for those of you who are watching this in post, hope to see you next week, and hope to see you in one of these live watch-alongs. And if you really aren't into the old Japanese Godzilla movies or any of the Japanese films, then I will be doing the American films, including the Roland Emmerich one, so that should be a lot of fun. But for everyone else who's been with me since the first Godzilla, thank you all again. And if you guys want to help support the channel financially, you could go over to patreon.com/TheRealMrRobinson, and I want to try to do more of these live watch-alongs, but exclusively for patrons. And for $1 a month, you'll be able to get live watch-alongs that no one else gets to see. But if you cannot support the channel financially, that's totally fine. Your subscriptions, your likes, and just your interactions in the comment section or in these live feeds is good enough. So yeah, again, next Tuesday will be Destroy All Monsters. We'll have a review coming up tomorrow morning for the long-awaited okay, let me start that over again. Tomorrow I'll be putting up a review, and it will be what I've been teasing for a couple weeks, a review of one of the very worst movies ever made. So keep your eyes open for that. And until next time, this is the Real Mr. Robinson telling you there is only one.